Being part of the ISV Connect program helps our visibility with Microsoft sellers, which in turn helps us when we're introduced to new partners.
It has accelerated our entrance into new markets, and our product is developing with higher quality and at higher speed than it would otherwise have.
Things like ISV licensing, handling our licenses just like any Microsoft first-party applications. We see that as a big benefit.
What ISV Connect program introduced is very different level of confidence with our customer. And with the Microsoft expanding the program, we are expecting to grow our ISV portfolio significantly.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. My name is Brian Galicia. I lead our global Dynamics ISV business here at Microsoft, and it's an honor and pleasure to have two guest speakers today from a Inner Circle partner. And I'll explain what that means, but we have an amazing partner, MCA Connect, who has been a long-standing partner of Microsoft in the ecosystem. And it's a joy and pleasure to have Dag and Melinda joining us today to talk about their new ISV scenario and also talk about and touch upon things that they do as well to drive business outcomes. But before we get started and give an introduction to both of them, I wanted to welcome everybody watching live. We typically do, well, we always do these on Mondays at 8 o'clock. And the purpose of this ISV Connect live show is really to highlight amazing partners and ISVs in our ecosystem doing amazing things, particularly with Dynamics in our business application business. If you are watching live, we would love to hear where you're watching from and give you a shout out at the beginning. So if you want to just type in the window, let's say you're watching from the West Coast, the East Coast, or for me, I'm doing this from Seattle in my home office. Feel free to type that in and we'll definitely give you a shout out at the very beginning. Also, if there is a question that may come up as I'm speaking with Melinda and Dag that may spark a question that you want to get answered in real time, I can put that in the window. And if there's time at the end, we can actually throw that question up to Melinda and Dag, and you can get that response in real time. Also, if there's value in what we're saying, if you use one of the comments of like, celebrate, etc., one of the emoji cons, that also gives us indication that the content is resonating out there. So without further ado, Melinda and Dag, happy Monday. Thank you again for making the time, both of you. And so as we start this event, my typical opening statement is give me a sense. Maybe we'll start with you, Melinda, and then go to you, Dag. What's your role at MCA Connect? And what is one thing not on your LinkedIn profile that you're open to sharing to the audience so that people can get to know you a little bit better? And Melinda, we'll start with you.
Thank you so much, Brian, for having us. My name is Melinda Carlson. I'm the Director of Microsoft Cloud Strategy at MCA Connect, and I lead our alliance with Microsoft and go-to-market motions. So one thing you won't find on my LinkedIn profile, at least prominently, is that I was raised by two professional musicians, and I still enjoy music and play in a local band on occasion.
I love it. Well, before we go to Dag, what is the instrument you play, Melinda?
I play keyboard and I sing, and then I do have a couple songs with some cowbell.
Oh, the cowbell. For any of you who watch Saturday Night Live, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you will know what when I use the term cowbell, you'll know that what I mean.
That's right.
Yeah. So hey, Dag. Yeah. So thanks, Melinda, for that intro. So Dag, we'll go to you.
Yeah, Dag Calafell, Director of Azure Solutions. I was an MCA Connect customer before I came and worked at MCA. Been here for 5 years now. And something unique you can't tell from the internet is that my family is from Spain. In fact, there's a town of 25,000 people that has my last name, Calafell. It's in Catalonia, Spain. And it's mostly tourism, beaches, there's water sports, obviously. And 10 years ago, I got a chance to go there. And it was just wild to see your name plastered on everything. And I happened to come back with a couple of soccer jerseys with my name on them, like I'm an official professional soccer player.
I love it, Dag. So do you speak Spanish, I assume?
Only a little bit. And you know what? It's actually from my time when I was working in Mexico, consulting in Mexico. So yeah, my family did not speak Spanish in a way that I could understand at home. I think it was their secret language.
Okay. Well, I can imagine because my parents are immigrants from the Philippines, and it's interesting. They didn't teach me their native language. It's very close to Spanish, called Tagalog. But yeah, one of those things that it's a great way to hide things from kids when they're like, oh, we can talk in this native language that anyone understand. Yeah, it's interesting too, because my last name is, I mean, even though I'm Filipino, origins are from Spain. There's actually a province in Spain called Galicia, and there's actually a dialect of the Spanish dialect called Galicia too. So we have that somewhat in common.
I think
I'm
we
gonna do a
better
quick
do.
shout out. Oh, go ahead, Melinda. Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think we better do our next episode from Spain, either Calafell or Galicia.
Yeah, from California.
Like
That's where we need to. That's definitely where we need to do it. I'm going to do a quick shout out here. So Israel, thank you for commenting. It's great because we have an international audience all the way watching from Nigeria. That's lovely. And we're going to get back to you, Stuart. So Stuart asked a question. I'm going to save this to the end, Stuart, but I'm going to flash it up here for Melinda and Dag just so that they have it. But definitely, Stuart, I'll bring that back so that we can address that question towards the end. But let's get started. So Melinda, maybe we'll start with you. Why don't you give everyone, for those of you who don't know, who is MCA Connect and what are the business outcomes? Because one of the things that's amazing is that MCA Connect not only touches upon like a core piece, which of course I personally selfishly care about because I do Dynamics, but you touch the Microsoft Cloud across many things, including Azure. And that's why Dag's expertise is going to be valuable in this conversation. So maybe you can talk about who is MCA Connect, what are the business problems you help to solve with us, and particularly with Dynamics, and we can start from there.
Absolutely. Well, I've had so much fun. I've been with MCA Connect just over a year now, spent a chunk of my career at Microsoft working with partners, and I've just been so pleased to find a company like this one that has been serving their customers so well for more than 2 decades. It's just amazing the types of outcomes that we can solve together with our customers, typically those that make and distribute goods. At Microsoft, those might sit in the manufacturing vertical, or it might be consumer goods, could be life sciences, could be energy. We even have some in DoD. But the types of outcomes that we're driving with our customers are the kind that show up on the P&L and the balance sheet, reducing end-to-end lead times, optimizing inventory, reducing waste out of your processes and out of your operations, and just overall efficiency and profitability. So very tangible outcomes that we drive. We help them get products out the door faster. We help them more quickly align their supply with demand. And these days, as demand has been a little squirrely to try to predict, it's been a great space to be in helping our customers. And as you pointed out, Brian, we did start in the business of global ERP implementations, very complex global projects with Dynamics. And we've expanded our portfolio over the past couple of decades to include strategy services, CRM, Power Platform, and Azure Data and AI, which will certainly be a square focus as we talk about our Dynamics and Azure IP offering today, Inspire Platform.
I love it, Melinda, and thank you for that great intro. And one of the things I failed to mention is that I mentioned Inner Circle, and so for those people watching, Inner Circle is actually a very specific designation we give to our highest performing Dynamics Biz Apps partners. It's kind of separated from the Microsoft broader thing, because when you think about the workload of Dynamics, very specific niche scenario to drive business outcomes to what you were describing, Melinda. And MCA Connect is one of those partners. And so it's amazing the scenarios that you described, because not only are you a ISV, because you have IP that you and Dag are going to talk about specifically to the kind of the finance and operations or traditional enterprise resource planning scenarios, but also you're a software implementer. You actually take the IP and you go and drive this amazing outcomes with many clients globally to go drive that. So maybe that's a good segue into the next question, which is what's been the experience like? I mean, you've been a Microsoft partner for a long time. I mean, and you've seen it both sides, Melinda, because people who might look at your LinkedIn profile, you used to work at Microsoft, and now you're working on our partner ecosystem, which happens frequently. And there's a lot of Microsoft employees that realize, oh my gosh, I want to stay within the Microsoft kind of experience. And so I'm going to go to the channel. I'm going to go to a partner. So maybe you can describe what's the partnership experience been like.
Yeah, I would love to chime in and just say that we love the partnership that we've had with Microsoft over the past, 2+ decades. We get access to software and training early. We build together. We go to market together. There are a lot of ways that Microsoft has enabled us to be more efficient, whether that's generating business, closing deals, deploying software. We build new software together. We support, really what this is about is supporting our customers be able to deliver on the value that their customers need. So we're kind of part of the overall value delivery of our customers even. So in a lot of ways, we align ourselves to Microsoft, whether that's through industry priority scenarios or seeing what trends are coming up. Like last week, you talked about ChatGPT, right? Mm-hmm. We align ourselves along those lines in order to stay on top of what is happening, make sure that our software and our implementation methodology is the latest. And really what we do there around software and our intellectual property is that we're here to enable faster adoption so our clients can take and leverage the latest innovations from Microsoft faster. And so the way that starts for us being an SI with our unique lens, we're not just a pure software creation, organization. We actually go out and we implement solutions for our customers. And then as we start to see patterns, we find, hey, these certain challenges appear commonly, and this indicates white space. And in fact, we find areas where it's just very difficult. So, it's a vendor portal, or it's getting access to the right data. And that's when we, talk amongst ourselves and identify targeted investments where we can create software to help accelerate our customers. And in a lot of ways, before we've done this, we've already solved that business process, or that business problem several different ways. Maybe, usually with a custom solution, maybe with different pieces of software that we've put together for the overall solution. But in a way, that's how we take the experience of what we've done in the past and build a very targeted piece of software that works very well in a specific industry. And today we have over 20 offers listed on Microsoft's marketplaces, whether that's AppSource or Azure Marketplace.
That's great, Dag. Thank you for that additional value and clarity. So that's a good segue into, why don't you describe a little bit about the Inspire platform? I know that's one of the areas that we really wanted to highlight because it's a new offering that exists in our ecosystem that customers and even other partners who are interested in the IP can look at. Maybe you describe a little bit about what is Inspire platform?
Yeah, happy to share. MCA Connect Inspire Platform is a modern data platform for manufacturers and distributors, or anyone really with a supply chain where you deliver a product. And the idea of it is, you heard me say we like to accelerate our customers' journeys to get to the latest technology and software. And so that's exactly what we've done here. Is we have taken the Microsoft tools in Power BI and Azure Synapse and some of the others like Azure Machine Learning, and packaged those up and added to it a industry-specific data model as well as out-of-the-box reporting. So in that way, you can build out business insights and machine learning and predictions without having to start completely from scratch, right? And so the challenges that we aim to solve immediately is around inventory cost and turns. We hear that very frequently from manufacturers today. The ability to fulfill orders. We're constrained by supply. We're also constrained by our ability to produce the product because our workforce is shrinking globally. And then finally, also for profitability, because there's a squeeze on margins with inflation happening, with different global trade agreements. The political landscape is changing globally, and having to stay on top of all of that and still continue to make a profit has proven to be somewhat of a challenge in today's atmosphere. So the way that we solve for those things is, number one, by uniting critical data. So we want to help anticipate shortages. We want to optimize inventory. We want to avoid expediting material across the globe. We also grant access to real-time insights, right? So that means that you're able to take control of reporting, be able to provide data to business leaders in a self-service manner where they can get access to it themselves to create their own ad hoc reports. and also be able to gain that access to the information faster, right? They don't want to have to fully rely on IT. Granted, there will always be an IT component. We all have to agree to that. But the more data that we can make available sort of in a curated fashion ahead of time, the more ability we give to our businesses to adapt and survive and even grow and maybe expand in ways that we hadn't been able to in the past. And then finally, on that profitability point, we are working on and delivering on better demand planning, right sizing inventory, the reduction of waste through efficiency. So, overall, we've seen a lot of excitement for MCA Connect's Inspire platform, and the fact that you don't have to build it from scratch, and that you get to take advantage of all of the expertise, the rich expertise here at MCA Connect, having seen hundreds and thousands of manufacturers do something very similar to you, if not the same exact thing. We take all of that expertise along with our data and AI expertise and have built something that really has accelerated companies and been able to generate agility in even industries that are quite old. And going back to that partnership idea, we have talked to 10 Microsoft solution architects over the course of the past year in building out and expanding on the MCA Connect Inspire platform. And really, this wouldn't have been possible without that ISV success program. It is somewhat new, but it's certainly something that has really helped in creating a world-class data and AI product here.
Gosh, Dag, so many amazing things and business outcomes that you described: inventory, cost, and turns. And I think for any CFO that may come across this, profitability, or any business leader, you hit the nail. Like, how do, especially in these economic conditions that we're in, how do we turn a higher profit with things that we have? And that's probably a good segue, because you talked about manufacturing. Maybe you're going to describe a little bit more. It's like, where are the use cases for this? Is it purely manufacturing scenarios? Because I can imagine there's probably anyone who's actually selling something, like a retailer as well, or CPG could come into play. So maybe we could talk about the scenarios of the industries that what you just described, this new IP of what you provided can help with. And then maybe you can touch upon like the customer, maybe a customer example of a scenario that you've started to see so far, or ones that you are seeing of the demand that are attracting people to go, hey, this is super interesting. Tell me more. So maybe you can touch on those things. And Melinda, feel free to chime in as well.
Yeah, I will just say, you brought up retail versus manufacturing. And in a lot of ways, I think we've seen a convergence of that there's a lot more companies that traditionally had been business to business, right? Selling to another business before that business sells to the end consumer. And now everyone has a mix, right? Some of it is B2C, some of it is directly through, online retailers. Sometimes there's a portal, but even manufacturers, you think of, a traditional manufacturer as making a cog that ends up becoming an entire automotive, but later on in the process, even those guys making the cogs are now selling directly to consumers who may want to upgrade their cog, who may want a different colored cog, or, may need to replace that cog, whatever that might be. And one that comes particularly to mind is a very large tier 1 automotive manufacturer. And the company had some challenges around taking bids and responding to RFQs, essentially. So, typically what happens in the automotive industry and in contract manufacturing in general is that someone sets out an RFQ and it's for something completely custom. It's never been built before, right? And so then as a manufacturer, you have to sharpen your pencil and you talk to engineering and you talk to sales and you talk to cost accountants and you talk to the guys who are trying to engineer this product. And all of that has to come together into, yes, we think we can build what you want and we think it's going to be this price. And we can commit to you that we'll build X millions of these over the next 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, right? And so the process for responding to these RFQs is such a long and drawn out process that in some cases there's software out there that will do that for you, but in a lot of ways, what we've seen is that companies use Excel because it's just something that is completely customizable, right? So every RFQ could be handled slightly differently. Now, what's interesting about that is MCA Connect, again, having seen this long drawn out process at so many different companies, we created an IP product called Auto Connect. And that's to help with this bid response process that is very complex at so many different industries. And so for this tier 1 automotive supplier, we're implementing Auto Connect, and we're also implementing MCA Connect's Inspire Platform, as well as Dynamics 365 Project Operations and Dynamics 365 Sales. So we have brought together the best of the Microsoft technologies, right, as well as additional IP on top of them in order to provide a great solution for this particular niche, right, of need. And the fact is that it was just, eye-opening as far as how much waste there was and how much streamlining there could be. I mean, these teams work and operate globally across different time zones. So you can imagine just communication and timing takes a long time to just, get back a response to this RFQ.
Yeah, Dag, with so much amazing things to unpack there. And that's the amazing thing of what MCA Connect provides is that going back to it, not only the IP, but then the implementation services to connect all these things end to end. And of course, because this is a kind of aligned Dynamics ISV show, that again, your IP aligning to the Microsoft Cloud and how that's driving scenarios with business process connected to the F&O or our ERP quote unquote equivalent, and then the CRM side, which is you commented on dynamic sales. And I love how you said Excel, because it is amazing how many customers utilize that tool for many different things. And it's like broadly trying to do that at scale. And then they realize, wait a second, I can't really, where are all these records going to go? How's that going to really flow through my business process when it's just a cell in an Excel spreadsheet? So
that's right, Brian.
Yeah, Melinda, maybe we can get your any comments or additional feedback from your perspective on.
Sure. Yeah. Actually, I was just going to say we have a really strong data point in favor of what you were talking about with running your business on spreadsheets. The manufacturer published about 74% of manufacturers are relying on legacy systems and spreadsheets to run their business, and only about 3% can actually answer the data that access the data and to answer their question in seconds. And so those are certainly core scenarios that we're solving for with Inspire Platform. And I thought I would just share some other themes to kind of augment what Dag shared regarding the tier 1 automotive supplier. We also have several customers across traditional, just discrete manufacturing, heavy equipment, electronics, life sciences, et cetera. And what they all struggle with is, being able to really see across their organization how that demand is lining up with supply and how much they need to actually produce, and where's some of the risk in their operations to get ahead of rather than react to. And so one of the, we talk about breaking down data silos, and I think it really helps just to talk about specific types of silos that exist that really inhibit growth of your business and certainly impact profitability. And those would be, where you organize the sales orders that you're tracking so that you can serve your customers, versus where you're organizing your operations around inventory, on-hand inventory, and production planning. Being able to knock down some silos there and bring those two worlds together so a customer can see, hey, when is my on-hand inventory going to be fully depleted by active sales orders or reserves? And that's a very basic scenario where if they can have a real-time view of that, which they do now with Inspire Platform, they can more accurately plan their production to fill that gap without going too far and ending up with way too much inventory sitting on the shelves, and also kind of striking that perfect balance with making sure they can fill orders as they come in. So that's a big one. And in addition to that, there's all kinds of visibility to be gained by looking across multiple plants. A lot of organizations have grown through acquisition. And so they'll have like very discrete operations in different divisions. And some of those divisions may be even utilizing some of the same components to build their products, or at least buying from some of the same suppliers. And that's all happening in a silo right now. So with Inspire Platform, you can connect all of that and see inventory across your plants. So instead of, expediting that particular cog that you needed to finish out this next week's production, you can actually see if it's in another plant nearby, sitting on a shelf, or another division that you could call it off from. And there's lots of opportunity to save on transportation, freight, expedites, and all of those types of scenarios. And there's so many more. It's just a wild sea of possibilities. We've really honed in on some of those operational challenges to start. But we have customers too that are looking at this solution to help them gain insights on SKU sell-through by reseller. The possibilities are nearly endless, as you mentioned, Brian. So we've built it for some of these core use cases, but we're really looking forward to innovating alongside our customers and finding what's most valuable to them.
Yeah, well said, Melinda. And I love those additional examples to add more color, because it is that back end and front office scenario where a lot of people think, oh, I just need to figure out my supply chain or my finance and operations side. But in actuality, it's both sides, because what feeds into that are sales orders. And I love how you just said that you're tying the two together, because that's really where the business process magic happens, because then you can have the ability to understand and forecast based upon sales demand and leads or opportunities to go do that, and which is amazing. And just the fact that MCA Connect does all these things to drive these impactful scenarios across those industries you talked about, particularly in manufacturing scenarios, is pretty impressive and amazing. So with the 5 minutes we have left, I guess we might have to get back into to that comment from the very beginning, Stuart, on XPFX. That I'm not sure, that doesn't ring the bell to me. I'm not sure if that's a solution that MCA Connect appears, but what we'll do is we'll take that offline, unless Melinda and Dag, you know that off the top of your head, but maybe we can take that offline and do a little bit more. Reach out to, if it is specific to MCA Connect and IP they have, maybe my ask would be either reach out to me or Dag or Melinda to do that. And before we kind of wrap up with different call to action resources, is there anything else, Dag or Melinda, you want to touch upon? Maybe Internet of Things or things like that. Is there one, and like we have about 3 minutes left, is there something you want to talk about on kind of what's the next, what's the future? What is MCA Connect looking at across building the next solution IP that will drive that value, that then of course in turn you can actually help not just with IP, but also then help with the implementation of it?
Well, yeah, I mean, immediately what comes to mind specific to the Inspire platform, knowing that it's connected to all the data, number one is taking the OpenAI models and Microsoft Copilot essentially, and extending that into the data that is existing already inside of the Inspire platform. And so that's something that we have an internal conversation going around. And in fact, too, we have a customer who is collecting IoT data, specific to manufacturing. That means it's, number of hits on a stamping machine or bends, or, how much time do you have on the laser? So that kind of industrial Internet of Things data is getting collected in the cloud, being reported on, using Azure IoT Hub, showing a digital twin, as well as Azure Data Explorer for some immediate real-time reporting that can be done in a very industry-specific way, like with OEE metrics and uptime. And that particular data, we're collecting it today with the intention of in a few months being able to do predictive analytics for making sure that we prevent downtime on those machines. So step one is collect the data. You need a lot of data, right? When you think about ChatGPT, it had, maybe 30 years of internet data that it was trained on. So similarly, we need a significant amount of data when it comes to being able to predict when a machine or a motor will go down. So yeah, look for those things in Inspire Platform. I'm happy to be available if anyone wants to reach out. If those two topics interest them, I would love to work with them.
I love it, Dag. And yeah, that's a good segue to the end. And I love the fact that you are doing things with AI and ChatGPT, because as many of you have seen, and last week's show was actually focused on the Azure OpenAI platform. And we touched upon Copilot, because those are all things, especially in the biz app side, are very specific things we're integrating into the experience so that we can have users of the Dynamics platform have things surface up to them based upon the data and the knowledge that already exists. And that you're going to see that across many different things, including the other portions of the Microsoft business. Because again, last week we announced Microsoft 365 and what Copilot means in the scenarios of, and we talked about Excel, but imagine having a Copilot for Excel. I mean, it's pretty powerful. You can think about those use cases, or PowerPoint or Outlook and things like that. So it's amazing those things are coming across. So why don't we wrap up, Melinda and Dag? Why don't you describe a little bit about like next steps? Like, how do people learn a little bit more? We're on the LinkedIn platform, so I encourage everyone to reach out to Melinda, reach out to Dag, or reach out to myself. Send a personalized LinkedIn connection request to say, hey, we watched the show and this was something that caught your interest, or I have, like to Dag's point, like, hey, I have these things, I have a point of view. Like, I'd love to see this built in the IP. Maybe Melinda and Dag, you can talk about like, how do people learn more if they're a Microsoft employee who maybe doesn't realize, oh my gosh, I should be pulling an MCA Connect to all my Dynamics scenarios to what we described. Maybe it's another partner that wants to do P2P, or maybe it's a customer, someone listening to this going, oh my gosh, I have these business problems. How do I take the next step?
Sure. I'll share a few things briefly as we close. But just in conclusion, I think we've kind of covered how there's so much foundational work to do to get to this AI-enabled space of prediction. And Inspire Platform is that foundation that gives you the time to market. And especially if you are a Dynamics customer, we have it all pre-built and hooked up to finance and supply chain, sales, project ops. And so I think as you're thinking about your customer base, certainly anyone with Dynamics in-house, but not a hard requirement, and anyone who's struggling with siloed data, siloed operations, inventory challenges, margin insights, et cetera. So we do have a number of resources we've shared with Brian ahead of time that we can flash up on the screen. So you can visit this link, aka MS Inspire Platform, and you'll see a link to the video that we'll show here shortly if you want to share it with others. There's App Source and Marketplace links there as well. And if you do have a customer in mind, or if you're a partner that's looking to jointly solve for some of these issues with our mutual customers, feel free to just find me on LinkedIn and reach out.
I love it. Anything else to add there, Dag?
No, I think that we've seen the excitement for this platform growing quite significantly and very quickly. And so we're definitely looking forward to, how it grows, and also growing with our customers. And the platform is, ERP agnostic, although it does have Dynamics connectors. So implementation speed is 4 to 6 weeks for a Dynamics customer. So keep that in mind. It's something that happens very quickly and enables your business to do a lot more.
Great. Well, Melinda, Dag, thank you so much for allocating time on a Monday. I truly appreciate the insights. And to the MCA Connect team, thank you so much broadly for the longstanding partner relationship. Thank you for all those watching live or the replay. Again, encourage you to watch other ISV Connect live sessions. We do these every Monday at 8 o'clock. And next week, we'll have another amazing guest. And you'll see that show up later today when I post the next event. I encourage you to follow or connect with any one of us, or particularly connect with me. Follow ISV Connect Live, and appreciate the time. So thanks again, Melinda and Dag. And for those of you who have a few more minutes, I'm going to flash up the video that Melinda mentioned. So thanks again, everybody. Have a great week.
Thank you, Brian.
Thanks.
To maximize profitability, adapt to market shifts, and mitigate risks, manufacturers need to increase visibility across their global operations, divisions, and supply chains. Running beneath these global networks is a highly valuable and untapped resource: data. Enterprise data inspires decisions that impact fill rate, customer satisfaction, inventory costs and turns, profitability, sustainability, and more. But with so much data in so many places, surfacing timely insights and trends is challenging. That's why we created MCA Connect Inspire Platform, a foundation for modern manufacturing intelligence. With it, your data inspires you to make smarter and faster business decisions. Gain end-to-end visibility by uniting enterprise data across divisions, geographies, and sources. Get a clearer look at on-hand inventory versus active sales orders. Prevent production shutdowns and expedited shipping fees with improved vendor shipment tracking and better visibility into demand shifts. Immediately adjust procurement and freight costs based on product performance. Inspire Platform curates and optimizes your data to empower business leaders with real-time insights and self-service capabilities. Easily monitor performance and trends with pre-built executive dashboards and industry-standard KPIs. Take control of your reporting, get information faster, and free up IT. Maximize profitability by leveraging the latest innovations in AI and machine learning to unlock predictions and automation. Keep a pulse on demand, adapt in real time, increase sales, mitigate customer churn, and drive performance of your most profitable products. With our team of industry experts and data scientists, you can tailor Inspire Platform to your specific business needs and implement it in just weeks without interruption. Take the next step in your analytics journey. Be inspired to make smarter, faster decisions with MCA Connect Inspire Platform.